Hi guys, welcome back to Coaster Buddy, where today I'm coming to you with a vlog from Alton Towers. It's just in the middle of May, so it shouldn't be too busy because it's right in the middle of GCSEs, A-levels, SATs. We've got a school group out here, but it shouldn't be too busy. So I'm going to get on all the rides and I'm going to take you along for the adventure here at Alton Towers. So the gates open to the park at 9 o'clock, so we're in super early, and I've just had a peek round outside the courtyard and they're actually pre-queuing Wicker Man. They're not actually letting people into the queue yet, so we're going to go around and see if they're letting people in now, and I think that's going to be the first ride of the day. Despite there being a school group, not everyone has rushed straight for Wicker Man. Actually quite a lot of people have gone for the Smiler. At the minute it's kind of not a good idea to go straight to the back of the park because 13 is, you know, it's fairly reliable, but Rita definitely isn't at the minute. I think it's currently on the ride availability board as being closed for essential maintenance, so I don't think we're going to be getting a ride on Rita, but it's been unreliable for quite a bit now. Less than savoury start to the day. Wicker Man has not been able to open on time. I think it's a little bit colder than what they were expecting, so it's understandable. So there's going to be a bit of a delayed opening. I think they're just going to have to heat it up a little bit because it is quite nippy in the air right now. So we'll see when it reopens and I'll give you an update on it when it does. So I'm now just heading down towards Alton Manor. Curse is always a pretty reliable attraction, but that does lead me on to the fact that Alton Towers definitely for the past year or so, maybe even 2-3 years, has had some pretty big reliability issues. And you know, I think part of it is down to the fact that a lot of their attractions are creeping up to 20-30 years old. But yeah, Rita absolutely not opening as far as we're concerned because they're having some issues, I believe, with the catch car. So yeah, that's not opening, but we'll head down towards Forbidden Valley and Alton Manor and see what's going on down that way. The Katanga Canyon River Rapids, currently they're drained, but I don't know if they're a staggered opening time, so they might open more towards 11 o'clock alongside Hex and the Sky Ride. There are some staggered openings for some of the perhaps more minor attractions, even though I would consider Hex a main attraction. I absolutely adore that ride. It's a brilliant themed experience, but there have been a few more staggered openings, whether that's to do with the fact that those rides don't get as big of an audience or the fact that they have staffing issues, but you know, it is what it is. Well, it looks like our first attraction is going to be the Runaway Mine Train. This has opened just a few minutes early, just before 10 o'clock, and it's empty. We've just seen a train go past with just 2 people in it, so we're going to give this a go. Choo choo. Just leaving through the gift shop for the Runaway Mine Train. What a classic. It never gets old actually. It was running really well this morning. No queue, absolutely walk on, and even in the tunnel we got the little smoke effect as well, which was a lovely added bonus. Yeah, really good. Is it gonna go around? Nah, I don't think we're gonna get a cycle to show it off. But yeah, we're now actually going to head down to Curse because that should be open now. It's just gone 10 o'clock, I think, so we're going to have a look what's going on down that way. Well, there's your money shot. We're heading down towards Alton Manor. This is arguably the quickest route to Curse and Forbidden Valley. If you're in Mutiny Bay, just head up that path round by the side of Runaway Mine Train and you're like right here. The walk through the Gloomy Wood attraction is quite long. It is definitely a walk and it's fairly hilly, so this is definitely the recommended way to get here. But here we go, Alton Manor. This is an incredible dark ride. It's got to be my favourite in the UK. Such a dense theming. It's got really great smell pods and the audio is really good as well. There's a really good bassy rumble in one of the scenes that I really enjoy. So I believe this should be either open now or opening soon. It looks like it's open now, so I think we're going to give this a go right now. We have strike 2. the Curse at Alton Manor has a delayed opening. So that is Wicker Man and Curse at Alton Manor that are having troubles with getting up and running for 10 o'clock. It is just 10 o'clock, so, you know, not too bad. They said they're not too sure when they're going to reopen, but the thing with Curse at Alton Manor is that they do close it when any of the major effects aren't working, which I do actually really appreciate because it means you absolutely get the full experience every time. I'm kind of glad they don't do that too much because the trommel tunnel almost never works in there, so it's quite a good job that they don't close it when just one thing's broken, but instead they close it when something that's really integral to the story isn't working. So we'll have to see if they can get that back up and running because it is one of my favourite rides on park. So let's see what's going on in Forbidden Valley and see if anything's open there. Here we are coming into Forbidden Valley, which was completely revamped for the opening of Nemesis Reborn in 2024. It looks absolutely amazing and they've kept up to it really nicely. This is still looking really well painted and it's just a really well put together area, but this is where Toxicator is. I'm going to be getting my first ride on that later on. I'm not going to do it at the start of the day because the one thing about me is I'm really good on roller coasters, but flat rides sometimes make me dizzy, feel a bit sick. So you'll also get a review on whether or not Toxicator is as nauseating as it looks. But it does look like a really fun attraction and the theme looks really good, so I'm sure when we come around the corner I'm going to be blown away by its size because everything looks a lot smaller on video when I've been seeing it. So here we come down to Nemesis. The Forbidden Valley area looks really good in all lighting as well. When it gets to Halloween time at Scarefest and it's all dark, the lighting, the red lighting that shines on the track looks absolutely amazing. We have Galactica just there in the distance poking through the trees. That lift hill looks really good next to Nemesis. I would like to see that get rethemed to something Phalanx, to be fair, because that whole area at the bottom just, it feels a little bit out of place, a little bit, well obviously I guess the theme is a little bit rushed as a whole, but you know, I think it could definitely do with some improvements. And it does seem like Nemesis is open, so it's on a 10-minute queue, so I might actually have to give it that a go straight away. But yeah, look at that. So here we are in the queue for Nemesis Reborn. This was retracked for the 2024 season, but it originally opened the B&M Invert in 1994. It was one of the first models of its kind, and it was inspired by the Batman, which I believe was at one of the Six Flags parks. I think it's coming up the lift hill right now. I can hear that clicking. This queue is really well themed too. It has discarded pieces of track here that the alien has thrown, and it also has like a mini rolling pre-show in the queue line, which is held in one of the containers down there. Here they come. Very nice. So let's see how it runs early on the morning. Wow, look at that. Toxicator is absolutely huge on that elevated platform. Wow, that's intimidating, and the size of the theming piece next to it, that is incredible. I've never done a Huss top spin, so this will be my first time. I believe I'm going to try and drag my brother on it as well. Let's have a look. Wow. It's always nice that there's something new. It's very loud down here with the audio. Something new at the park quite often. And here's your rolling pre-show. was phenomenal. First thing on the morning, running like an absolute treat. The thing about that station is it actually has little heaters next to the wheel, so it's always running on top form. There it is. Wow. The operations are phenomenal on there, and the G-forces. I got a back row ride, I totally forgot to mention, but it is amazing on back row. If you can get a back row ride, absolutely do. It is so forceful, and it really takes all the elements with such speed, especially that downward little helix element there. Just absolutely phenomenal. And the vertical loop has such a whip on it, and on the back row you get a real strong weightless moment. Such a brilliant ride, and I'm so glad they decided to retrack and retheme this area because it looks so crisp, and I'm so glad that they've decided to keep Nemesis. Yeah, so it looks like Toxicator's down for the minute. It looks like we've got some maintenance people up there. I'm not sure whether or not they're... Yeah, it looks like they're working on the actual ride itself, not any of the theming pieces or anything. Yeah, they've got a ladder on this side as well. I don't know, it might just be a morning check on the mechanics because they're doing it to both sides, it seems. So I'm not too sure when that's going to open. But it's a good job I was planning on getting that ride in later on anyway. Oh, wait. Dead end. Sorry, the new layout of Forbidden Valley's kind of messed me up there. So heading over to Galactica because that's open after that very lovely short queue for Nemesis. There's your Mushroom Cloud tour bus there. So an update on what's open and what isn't. Toxicator is closed, Subterra is closed, Rita and 13, so all of Dark Forest is closed. And I think that's it for the minute. Obviously Hex doesn't open until 11, so I'm not counting that as a closure. But yeah, so those out of the big hitting roller coasters and thrill rides, that's what's not available right now for opening. I think Subterra, to be fair, might have a staggered opening. I'm not too sure though, but the other ones, they are meant to be open for 10, but of course Rita is having issues and they're probably waiting on a ride part, so it's not really anything Alton Towers can do. They had that issue with a Smiler not too long ago. You've always got to stop everything you're doing to get a shot of a coaster. But yeah, so we're going to give Galactica a go. The first of its kind, a B&M flying coaster, engineered and designed by John Wardley, who also designed Nemesis. So anyway, let's give it a go. It's meant to be on a 25-minute queue, so we'll see if that's accurate because it doesn't really look too much like one. There's a lot of divided opinions on Galactica. Quite a few people think it should be removed. But me personally, I actually really enjoy Galactica. That lay down element is always really forceful on the top of your head. And I think the one thing that does spoil it a little bit is just going onto the brake run, because it does kind of make your neck a bit sore. But that's something that a few other flying coasters have maybe improved on, like Fly at Phantasialand, where you don't actually board the train in the flying position. So it means that your neck is a little bit more preserved. Yep, so Toxicator is still undergoing its maintenance work, but we're going to head under the tunnel and see some of the theming pieces here. So it's fairly warm, so I don't think when I get a ride on it it's going to be very wet with the fountains, but it does say splash zone here, so I imagine that at some point when it gets super hot they are going to be soaking people. Some pretty nice theming down here. Just talking all about the new saliva substance that they've harvested from the Nemesis monster. So it fits into the storyline. I would like to see them explain a little bit more about what this substance is used for, although I think we got kind of a bit of context with Compound. I believe that was kind of alluding to what's going on with Toxicator, but it would be nice to see them do another scare maze similar to Compound, because it was really, really good. And also just to deepen that story a little bit further. I think we're going to head over to Wicker Man, because it did open not too shortly after 10 o'clock, which is really good. And of course it was really nice of them to let everyone out just before 10 o'clock, so if people wanted to go on different rides, given they didn't know when it would be ready, you know, I think it's good that they gave people the option to do that, even though it only took them like an extra 10-20 minutes to get it up and running, which I would have been happy to wait for. But I have got a few rides in. I've got Nemesis, Galactica and runaway mine training in that space of time that I could have been waiting for Wicker Man. So I think it's been worth it. So we're here in the Alton Manor gift shop. This is a nice new t-shirt, I don't recognise that. That looks very nice. Now they've made some quite subtle improvements in there, but it seemed significantly darker because you were going round, it just seemed like you couldn't see anything. So the effects were really good and they were on time. And it seemed like even though the cars were still spaced pretty equally, they'd maybe increase the amount that they were spread out by just a little bit. But another big thing, the trommel tunnel was working. Now that has been pretty inconsistent for a long time, and I'm kind of glad that they kept it closed to make sure that that was all in working order, because it's a very dizzying and convincing effect. Yeah, definitely it makes me feel a little bit sick whenever I'm on it, because I really do feel like I'm going upside down. But yeah, absolutely brilliant dark ride, so much to see. And now that they've made it a little bit darker, those jump scares really do come from nowhere. So yeah, definitely worth a trip to Alton Towers to experience this absolutely amazing dark ride. Yeah. So the water for Congo River Rapids is slowly but surely being filled up, so it looks like that'll be opening around lunchtime, and it has warmed up quite a lot from the start of the day. The cloud has moved off and it was quite chilly when we first came in, but it's definitely looking to be a nice day at Alton Towers. So it's a good job they're getting that open. You don't really get too wet on the Congo River Rapids, but if you get a full boat you might get a few little splashes, but it's nice to have a water ride here nonetheless. There's a staff member outside, I assume will be telling people about the fact that it's just being filled up. You can see it better from this angle over here, that they're just filling it up. So you could see all the logs this morning and it was completely dry to the bone, but it looks like they're going to have it up and running and testing it. I wonder if we'll get the waterfalls today. They sometimes do, sometimes don't. I think it depends on whether or not they can have a lifeguard on the platform that's next door to them. I believe the waterfalls are around this corner somewhere. There's some genuinely very beautiful landscapes around Alton Towers. Of course, it is first and foremost a stately home, so there is some really nice gardens. Of course, the Alton Towers gardens, her ladyship's gardens, which are in like the courtyard area where you normally go into the attic terror of the towers at Scarefest. I think they're open at the minute, to be fair, so you can go have a look around. But yeah, definitely, if you don't enjoy the rides, of course there is Alton Manor, there's a few little filler attractions here and there, a lot of the stuff in David Walliams' land. I'm not really sure what to describe it as. That sort of has some filler attractions that are good for people who aren't too big of a fan of the bigger rides. So there's the waterfalls, and you can just see there's a wooden platform in the distance, and that's where the lifeguard stands. But yeah, I'm not too sure if it's a new legislation that's come in where they have to have someone at a certain point across any sort of water ride now, or if it's just a preference for safety from Merlin's standpoint. But yeah, I can see why it makes the Congo River Rapids a more seasonal attraction and slightly less reliable, especially if you have to have staff every few hundred feet making sure people aren't jumping out of the boats or standing on the boats. So you can see that platform there with the life buoy attached to it. But yeah, wow, it's really sunny now, and you can just see Wicker Man and Big Bob in the distance coming up. So we'll hopefully be able to get a nice ride on this. It should have warmed up a little bit by now. I can't see any trains going round right now, but I can hear some rumbling distantly. The one thing about Wicker Man is it's a really good themed experience. As much as it is more of a family wooden coaster, it has got some speed and some pretty good air time, but it also has a really nice pre-show with some great scent pods. It really does smell like fire in there, and it's just really well thought out with the theme. And even the gift shop is really nicely put together. I also love that they have the Katanga Canyon soundtrack blasting out. Katanga Canyon is a very nicely themed area, and it definitely looks good when it's sunny. When it gets into the winter, it does look a bit bleak. But yeah, just as a whole, Alton Towers has a really nice theme. Of course, it's sort of got a lot more darker themes now, but even when I was younger, I remember being absolutely terrified of Joel with the zombie outside, and going into Forbidden Valley and seeing Nemesis. And that was back when they used to have the massive gun instead of the tank in Forbidden Valley. And I used to be so scared. He wants to watch you burn. That's my terrible Wicker Man pre-show impression. Are we going to get a train coming round? This is a view from the fast track queue. We've got a one-shot fast track for this. Whoa, I missed that then. Well, Wicker Man has always been a very strong attraction. It was running very well then. We got a second to back row, so that's row 11. And wow, it's got some good airtime, especially if you put your hands up. Wicker Man has also got probably some of my favourite merchandise as well. Really nice, earthy. I don't know about subtle, but yeah, very nice merchandise and a very well themed gift shop, as well as the, how much is it? £3.5 grand Big Bob statue made out of wicker. A wicker man. But yeah, that was running amazing, and the mist is absolutely pouring out, so I got wet through. And it's really good because it's quite warm, so it's definitely cooled me down, but look at it pouring out. Absolutely phenomenal. Got some really good forces on there, and it's definitely a coaster that can be ridden by all ages. It's not necessarily mega fast, it's not got any crazy elements in it, it's got some very fast whippy transitions. You can't even see Big Bob for all the mist. I'm gonna have to wipe down my GoPro. But yeah, really solid coaster, and it's on a 30-minute wait right now, so it is a fairly quiet day, because typically when it's this with weather, you'd be expecting it to be on about 60 minutes, if not more. So it looks like the Skyride is just testing right now. I'm not too sure what weather conditions it can operate in, because it is quite hot. I don't know if it runs in hot weather, cold weather. I assume it's because it's on a staggered opening, it's probably quite temporal and it's still in a bit of a teething phase. But we're heading over to Hex now, and I love this ride. Now, the lighting in the sort of kind of revamped version of Hex, it's different to what it originally was, where it was maybe a bit more subtle in the original, and I definitely came off of the original Hex feeling slightly a bit more dizzy and slightly a bit more convinced by the effect. And whether or not it's just because I know how it works now, or the lighting has sort of changed my experience of it, I feel like it doesn't pack as much of a punch. But the pre-shows are amazing, because you get to go into the original towers, and they completely redid the octagon, which is where you see the engine whirring up, and you see, like, I suppose a ghost lady in there. Well, it's meant to be the witch, I believe. And it just looks really good, because they sort of, it's kind of explained a little bit in the video that's in the queue line. They sort of quote-unquote excavated, this is part of the made-up story, but they did actually rebuild part of that area, because of course the towers are ruins, so they had to redo a little bit of it. But the soundtrack is also probably my favourite in the park. I do love the Nemesis soundtrack, but there's something about the Hex soundtrack. First time I ever went in Hex, kind of made me a bit emotional, because it's just so epic and grand. And also I can just see the wonderful stained glass windows. So they redid the stained glass windows on the Great Hall over there. But then you see that tower there. That has a really beautiful stained glass window that you don't really get to see when you're in the Hex queue line. You might be able to see it from Her Ladyship's Gardens, but That looks really nice, and I really like how they are preserving as much as the towers as they can. It would be nice if you could, in the off season of Scarefest, explore the towers again. But yeah, Hex never really has a big queue. It's got massive throughput. About 80 people can fit on the ride at once, and then at the same time you have another 80 people watching each of the pre-shows. So yeah, it's a very, very high throughput ride, and it's really great to have at the park. So we just took a ride on 13. I really enjoy 13. That drop track, it's always got really good pop of airtime every single time. It's only a family coaster, but it really does what it needs to do. And that first drop has quite a bit of force on it. The outdoor layout is really nice, really smooth transitions. It is just overall a very smooth coaster. But yeah, intimate multi-dimension coaster, that. The only thing is the baggage area where you normally get your wristband, that was actually closed. So when we had a primary school class in front of us, it took quite a lot of time to get loaded in and out, and we were sat on the break room for quite some time. I'm sure that when they have more staff, like when it's on a busier day, it's probably open. But yeah, just bear that in mind. Yeah, so Rita is still closed. It doesn't look like it's opening today. Hex is also an hour late on opening. It's still not open yet, and we're not sure when it will, or if it will. Hopefully it will. But yeah, 13 was running really nicely there. Might have to come back and have another go on 13 because it is a classic. Well, the doors to the towers are sealed again. I'm not sure when it's going to open, but we're going to go ahead and try get some lunch. So there's the entrance to Her Ladyship's Gardens. So we're just walking down the queue line for Congo River Rapids. Now I haven't been on this for a long time, and if you're wondering why the camera is changing quite often, my GoPro won't turn on right now. It's fully charged, but it's just not playing ball right now. As you can see, it's all filled up and people are riding on it. So I think after this I'm going to have a go on Toxicator. I just wanted to let my lunch settle. The Sky Ride has not yet opened. It ran with a few guests on it and it seems to have stopped. Hex is also not open, and they said that if it's going to open, it's going to be towards the back end of the day. But this is walk on, and it's a nice day for it, so hopefully I'll get a light sprinkling. Yeah, this area is really nice. It's just a lot of nature, and it's quite a lighter theme, as I think I mentioned earlier on in the video. I don't think we'll be needing the get dry here option, because I've heard you don't get too wet on it anymore. There's a monorail going past. Let's go give it a go. Well, that was really worthwhile going on. It picks up some speed, didn't get wet at all. I didn't even realise there was a photo op on this ride. Let me just have a quick look at what's going on. But yeah, the audio is really nice on the ride. It's quite long. I didn't realise how long it was, but yeah, really good ride. I actually enjoyed that, even though it could have done with being a bit wetter. But then again, there was only 2 of us in the boat. We could have done with being batched with like another group, like of 4 people, because then those waves would have hit a bit better. I got a few sprinkles on the back, but nothing more than that. But it was quite fun because of how fast it was. Just had an amazing second ride on Wicker Man just then. That's probably my first official back row ride on Wicker Man, and that was really good. Massive shout out to the staff member in the station who was talking to a child who was a bit scared to go on the front row, and then he snuck me onto the back row, which is the absolute best row. The airtime on there is amazing, and you really get dragged down that first drop totally worth a back row ride on Wicker Man. If you like more ejector air time and the speed, yeah, maybe the front row is for you, but I just love the back row, the way that you get whipped into everything and really dragged around the track. So it's really good. And the steam, once again, really nice to cool down. Definitely you get wetter on Wicker Man than what you do on Congo River Rapids. But Hex has reopened, so I'm going to head up there and try to give that a go, because that'll be really great. And then I think we're going to go to 13 and then head into X Sector. Now, I'm kind of nervous for my ride on the Smiler because I find the restraints rattle my head a little bit and I do come out with a bit of a headache, but you know, we'll see how we go. And it also means I get to have a go on Oblivion, and I do love Oblivion. That drop, even though it's the same thing every single time, it's a really short layout. It's so effective. It's such a good drop.
We started restoration work in the towers, and it was during that period that some of the artifacts were found including
Well, that was a ride on Hex. I absolutely adore that attraction, and we're going out the normal entrance since Scarefest isn't on, out into Her Ladyship's Gardens. So this would be the normal entrance to the attic Tower of Tower of the Terror. Tower of the Terrors, jeez Louise. Terror of the Towers. That took me like 3 goes. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave that one in and let people rip me to shreds in the comments over that one. But yeah, definitely my top tip is to get on the back row on the left hand side. It seems to always have the most convincing illusion on there. It's really confusing how it even manages to do that, because it is so convincing. And it doesn't move an awful lot because it's mainly the room that's doing all the spinning, but with the tilt of the benches moving like simultaneously, it gives you the sensation that you are flipping over or that you're hanging out your seat, also because the benches are angled down. But a top tip, if you feel disoriented and you want to know where you are, there's ropes on the right hand side of the ride system, and you can see which way they're tilting, and that's what position you're in. So if you do feel a bit dizzy on the ride, just recollect yourself by checking those ropes and seeing where you are. But it's such a good attraction. Just heading down right now into X Sector. This is home to the Smiler and Oblivion. Now Oblivion, it only has a drop and a little turnaround section, but that drop, it's so forceful. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the Smiler. I think the layout is absolutely incredible, but the restraints do rattle my head a little bit. So I might have to have a headache tablet after this one. However, like I say, if it had lap bars, this layout would be absolutely amazing. It's got some nice airtime moments. It's got some moments where you're really pushed into your seat. And overall, it is a really good coaster, but it is just a little bit rough for me. There it goes. Whoa, look at that. Really pretty design.
Is that the GoPro?
Yeah.
Alright.
Totally in my own world for a second there. But the way it interacts with all the other cars is really interesting, because of course the layout is split into 2 halves, and this almost pretzel loop here, you don't actually take it all in one go whatsoever, so it's really interesting. And the soundtrack will absolutely be in your head for days, but I think that's probably what makes it such a good soundtrack, because it totally fits the theme. Now Oblivion's on a 5-minute wait, which is really good. The wait times have been quiet all day long. I have got a fast pass for this, so I'm just going to take that queue anyway because I might as well use it, even though it will literally be walk on. A little disco in there you can see the train coming in. It's really impressive though. I know it's kind of divisive because it doesn't do an awful lot, and a lot of other dive coasters they have massive inversions and loops, and this was the first of its kind. It is advertised as the first vertical dive coaster, however it doesn't quite hit that full 90 degrees, although it is literally a few degrees off. So it doesn't make too much of a difference. There it goes up the lift hill. Now also the interesting thing is the trains are also angled slightly. So the people who are in the middle of the trains are a little bit higher up than the people on the wings. So it's a really interesting design. So, I'm just leaving the Smiler. I feel like I've lost my voice a bit. I'm going to go out and say it. It's quite loud in here. I actually really enjoyed that. It was a lot less rough than it was before, but you can hear the rattle on it now. It is quite loud. Yeah, I think just because I'm shorter and my head doesn't sit above the restraint, it sort of bashes right into the bottom of my neck, and we're into the trippy corridor. It bashes into my neck quite a lot on the sides of my head, but no, I actually quite enjoyed that. The airtime was good. I was on row 3 and I was on a wheel seat, which probably made it a bit rougher than what it normally would be, but no, I thought that was quite good actually. Oh goodness, very ominous dark corridor to end the experience. Yeah, that was a really good ride, that. Into the gift shop, of course. So I think we're going to head down to Forbidden Valley to get another ride on Nemesis in, but then also to go on Toxicator. I've left it towards the end of the day in case it does make me feel dizzy. I didn't want to do it at the start of the day in case it made me feel sick and then ruin the rest of the day. But yeah, no, I did enjoy that, which is something I don't often say. I think it is just quite loud and rattly at the moment. There it goes. Wow. The thing is though, is the restraints are quite loose on me, so they are effectively like a lap bar, but if there was 2 blocks either side of your head, because it doesn't really touch my shoulders. So I think the Smiler would work really well with lap bars. With all the airtime and the inversions, I think it'd work incredibly. So I'd like to see them investigate if that's a possibility, because I know there are Gerstlauer coasters that are similar that do have lap bars, so I'd like to see them have a look into that maybe. But it would definitely make it a lot more of an enjoyable experience. Now, I haven't had a lot of time to get like off-ride footage because it is only a 10 wildfall day, so with the Skyride being closed all day long, it's been really hard to get around the park in quick timing. So there's about an hour or so left, and we're going to try dash over to Forbidden Valley and get some more rides done before the end of the day. And then we'll finish off in the gift shop because there's some new pin badges that I want to take a look at for this season. It is a very pretty coaster off-ride though, isn't it? Right, let's go to Forbidden Valley. So I'm stood next to the tanks of Vaspirium, which seems to be the nemesis saliva substance. It's loud here, but it's my first time on Toxicator. It's just me going on it. No one in my group is coming with me, but I'm kind of nervous. I just had a ride on Nemesis and it's kind of rocked my head a little bit. So if I feel dizzy, I'm going to put it down to going on Nemesis beforehand. but I think I'll be on the next dispatch. So I'm excited to try it out because a lot of people have been saying it's really good, so I'm gonna give it a go. So let's see how it is. I'll give my review once I'm off the ride. Well, I have to say that was really good. Now, if you're worried about getting dizzy or feeling sick on it, I've come off it and I don't feel dizzy or sick, even though in the queue line I was still a bit queasy after a really good ride on Nemesis, because it really rocked me, that ride, after going on the Smiler. However, wow, it's so intense. That set of 4, so my cycle, because I know it runs a few different ones, we had a full upside down rotation, got to the top, had a little bit of a swing, then we were pulled forward to look right at the fountains, which was really cool. It looks really good from that angle. And then we were tilted backwards so the other side got a look at their set of fountains. Then we were pulled to the top, directed backwards, and then we had the triplet swing, and then we had a few more rotations just going upside down, and then we had the quadruple spin, which was really good and really intense. Yeah, it really throws you into your restraints, so you do get, honestly, what I would consider quite a bit of airtime, to be fair. The restraints are really comfortable as well. I have no complaints about that. It was really good, and the theming in the queue line's nice as well. I obviously didn't get a chance to show any of that because the queue was really short. I was pretty much on it straight away. Overall though, I was really pleased with that. Yeah, definitely that set of 4, wow. The set of 3 was like easing you into it, but the middle 2 flips on that set of 4, wow, they pull some massive G's. So it is quite intense. So if you're prone to blackouts on rides, maybe give that one a skip, because even I was like, I wasn't greying out, but I could definitely feel the G-force, yeah. Really great flat ride, and it's nice to see a permanent flat ride as well, because they are good filler attractions, and with how many people that can fit on it, it is definitely a guest eater. So I was pleased with that. I think we're going to head down to Catania Canyon again. I've just had a second ride of the day on Congo River Rapids, and I have to say that made me dizzier than Toxicator did. Yeah, I'm feeling it a bit now. We're going to go have a look at what the queue's like for Wicker Man and possibly try snatch a cheeky ride on that. There's about 10 minutes to ride close, so we can see if we can get there in enough time. So the queue's always shut at closing time, so it's not like the ride shuts at closing time, it's just that the queue does. So we're gonna go have a walk down there right now. But yeah, genuinely, I think Toxicator, to give like a more put together review, it's definitely a really good flat ride for the area. It suits the theme. It is a bit more intense, you know, in line with, you know, I suppose Galactica, but especially Nemesis Reborn and Subterra. As much as it isn't a massive drop tower, it's more of a family drop tower, because it's the same drop tower actually that they have in the dungeons that Merlin also own. So it's like, I think that whole area has a more mature theme, and I think that flat ride really suits well. I think with Blade, it's a shame that that's gone now. However, I think they just thought it's an older ride now. It was something like 30 years old, more than 30 years old actually, probably because it was like the oldest remaining attraction at Alton Towers. So it's a shame because it is another flat ride loss, and it did suck up a lot of you know, like queue times because quite high throughput. But it's nice to see Congo River Rapids running. I would like to see the waterfalls turned on. Once again, they are still batching people in like their groups. So me being in a group of 2 on that ride, not a lot of wetness at all. A few little drops of water, but you know, on a day like this, you really want to get cooled down. As much as summer isn't very long in the UK, you know, it's always nice to have an opportunity to cool down at a theme park, but the rides here definitely deserve their spot. So we're just walking up to the entrance because it's past 4 o'clock, it's 4:30 now. I'm going to go pick up some pin badges at Towers Trading. I did just pick up after my ride on Wicker Man. Since I went on Toxicator, I've obviously done Congo River Rapids, which I mentioned, and then we snuck in another go on Wicker Man, which was really good. It's really good towards the back end of the day because it really warms up, and it does feel a lot faster towards the end of the day. However, I went into the gift shop and I got one of the new Wicker Man hoodies. It's a nice, I don't know what to describe the pattern. I'm not sure if it's called like mottled or something. It kind of looks like a camo design, and it's got like spots on it and like almost paint splashes on it too. And it's all embroidered, and it has a picture of the Wicker Man and the Bjornen on the back. And then on the front it has the embroidered logo. So it's nice that they're moving towards more embroidered designs, because you know with the prints it's like, it's variable how long they can last. Like I got a Wicker Man print shirt and it was basically a sticker because I wore it once and it came out in the wash. So there was no more Wicker Man t-shirt after that. And it was £30, so you know, it felt like a waste of money, but definitely the merch quality has increased a lot since then. So we're going to go head into Towers Trading, but that means that it's the end of this vlog. It's been a really good day, quite quiet, and a really enjoyable time. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. See ya, bye bye. Emily Alton, December 31st. I'm going to put music over that obviously.